I'm here with Mike Riley, head coach of the West today. Coach, it's not a typical in-season game. What was your approach during the week here in Hawaii?
Well, I think that it is important that these guys practice to form some sort of a team, get used to what we're doing offensively, defensively, special teams, so that they can represent themselves well. They can get some repetition at what they're doing, and so we try to put in somewhat of a limited offense and defense and try to make them as comfortable as they can be so they can play.
Good. Good luck today. And
Gerard Lawson set to return the kick from Oregon State. Art Carmody out of Louisville set to kick it away. Glad you're with us today. Great. Lawson from about the 8. Looks for a little running room to the right side. Breaks it looking for a block. Over the 40, the 45 to the 48-yard line. Tyrell Johnson making the stop. Mike Cavanaugh, an offensive line coach from Oregon State, actually coached here in Hawaii
for us. I took the day off today.
Good for you.
Yeah. I let our coordinator do it.
In the booth.
No, he's doing it right there. No.
On fourth down, O'Connell looking, pass is tipped, incomplete. Nice job defensively.
Hey, Coach Riley, you had a fourth down play there, and I know you're not calling the plays today. You turned it over to one of your assistant coaches, Danny Langsdorf. What did you think of his call?
Oh, I think it was a good call. I think it was a good call. This is a good day to do that right now. Yeah, I don't know if we'd make that same call. We might kick the field goal if we were back in Corvallis.
Yeah. Tell me about your approach this week. What have you seen with the players in terms of attitude and them wanting to accomplish something here this week?
I think that's been the most impressive part as I've looked at it is their eagerness to practice, their enthusiasm for doing well. And, you know, I don't know. We're just very fortunate, but it seems to have a great group of guys involved in this game. I've really enjoyed them. It's been fun to coach them, and I think their intentions are all good.
Yeah, good. Appreciate your time. We'll talk to you again soon.
Back
to in terms of strategies, it's not going to change. Guys are here to highlight their skills. Everyone's going to play, and they're going to play really the same amount of reps at the same time as they would whether you're up by 4 or down by 4.
And there's Gerard Lawson standing back out of Las Vegas, Nevada, and Oregon State averaged over 22 yards a return this year. Lawson will return this from about the 5. Looks to go to the left side. He's got a little wall forming. Breaks open. Can he take it all the way? No, he's going to be pulled down at the 43-yard line. Nice return by Lawson. His longest this year at Oregon State was 56. This goes for 52.
One of the wonderful things we enjoy about this game is the access. So while we have a moment, since it's halftime, let's go inside the locker room and listen to what the coaches are talking about as they prepare for the second half.
Feel it? It's all right, isn't it? Ain't 10, right? Samoa. Yeah,
Not exactly Newt Rockney-ish. 21-0. He's leading the West second half straight ahead. Lewis Johnson is with Coach Riley now. Lewis.
All right. What was the chit-chat at halftime? How are you going to get this offense going?
Well, I think the biggest thing right now is not turning the ball over. You know, it's just like all games, you know, when you come out and you give them a couple turnovers in one of them inside the 5 and the other one inside the alumni zone, midfield, you know, that's really most of the story of the game.
Is that a byproduct of guys really not having a whole lot of time together? What do you think? Not playing in a long time?
Well, I don't know if those were particularly. I think the one was just a really good pass rush and not getting him blocked, and that was the biggest part of that. And then we need the turnovers lead to lack of continuity, all that.
So. Well, now I know that you're going to do something here, and you coach these guys up to come back and win. Might we see a great comeback here?
We are absolutely. That's exactly what we talked about in there. It's time for a big-time comeback.
Come on, light it up. We want to get some ratings here. Go get him, Mike.
Oh, boy. He's got a 21-0 deficit. You know, we saw him have a lot of comebacks this year. And I go back to last year's bowl game, actually, Kelly Stauffer, when they they tied the score, or they were still down, and they decided to go for 2 instead of the 1 that would have tied the game, and Evanson Bernard walks over. And I remember the bowl game in 2006 and seeing Coach Riley on the sideline, and he was just like that, smiling. And I asked him about that the other day. I said, every bowl game you play, and even in tense situations, you're always smiling. And he said, this is great. I love it. That's what kind of personality he has.
Yeah. He sent a message in that bowl game to his team, and we saw that carry over this year, Ron, where you can see that they have that ability to come back and win games. And I don't know whether in a week he can transfer that to the West team, but we'll see here in the second half.
Reggie Campbell, Josh Morgan set to receive the kick. It's going to be Josh Morgan. Drops it at the 14-yard line. Gets nailed from behind as he gets up to the 19-yard line. Gerard Lawson coming up to make the stop out of Oregon State. So one of Mike Riley's own comes up with a big play.
Gerard Lawson is that guy. He's a cornerback, and he has nice speed, and there's a question about his cover ability. But where Lawson can make a football team is doing just that, making plays on special teams. We already saw him in the return game, but making plays, going down and making tackles as well. That's how that young man is going to make an NFL team. June Jones really wanted to stay here, and obviously $2 million a year is hard to pass up, but it's about facilities here, and you're absolutely right. June Jones gave him the opportunity, but it wasn't addressed, and so he decided to turn his attention a different direction.
Well, here's Evanson Bernard from Oregon State. Slips one tackle, gets up to the 35-yard line, tackled by Larry Grant out of Ohio State. Funny, Kelly, during the break, you and I were talking. I said, what has happened to Bernard? His coach is coaching this team.
Yeah, no kidding. We haven't heard from the young man, and we really like him. And obviously, Mike Riley likes him as well. And we talked to Coach Riley about Bernard, and he said, you know, most of the time I would stay neutral and just let everything kind of sort itself out. But he said, not with this young man. If people would understand what they're getting in a total package with Bernard, they would take him in a heartbeat.
Well, here he is. They love the way he can run between the tackles, but not when you're being hogtied by a big defensive lineman in Carlton Powell from Virginia Tech. You know, and it's funny because you look at Evanson Bernard and you say he's 5'9", 204, and you think he wouldn't be able to run through the tackles, but that first step, Kelly, Mike Riley was telling us he loves it. He's not afraid to run there.
You're exactly right. He has a great burst initially, but that's what struck me, Ron, when we had Oregon State at Cal, when they upset Cal earlier in the year on Versus.
Actually making some pretty...
Bernard's ability to run between the tackles. He's very efficient, and he's very physical in there for his size.
You say he's a pretty good blocker, and that was also one of the raps on him.
And he'll get a chance at the next level.
I think he will too. Scouts were telling me they like him. Smith being dragged down from behind, back at the 46-yard line. Jeff Van Orso out of Oregon State, the senior from Las Vegas, Nevada. You know, he is one of the quickest defensive ends in the Pac-10.
Yeah.
And he always seems to come up with big plays.
You know what's interesting, Ron, from the scouts, what you hear is
every play.
Does he have enough speed to get, you know, as an edge rusher, which you can see right there, it seems to me that he has pretty good speed, but then to anchor when the run comes to you. You know, you have to be really good in one of those areas to make a living at that position in the NFL.
You heard Mike Riley says he comes on every play. The steward of parties here, huh?
Is that alive? Is that thing?
Oh, boy. Evanson Bernard on the carry. He has been quiet today. Now we have Alex Brink back in at quarterback for this West squad. Bernard popped at the line of scrimmage, still on his feet. Leans forward up to the 38-yard line. He'll be very close to the first down.
We talked about Bernard. I think he's a very nice player. I don't know if he's going to be a first-day guy at that second level,
Alex.
but he might find himself in the second day, you know, fourth, fifth round, someone there. But he's a player. He can do a lot of things for his team.
Mike Riley said of all the backs I've coached in 30 years, he's the best. Here he goes to the outside. Thinks like he's going to lower the shoulder and just kept running and able to pick up about 8 on the play.
The schools in Florida let you go, but at the end of the day, they saw the same thing. You know, I don't know, 5'9", at that time, less than 200 pounds, but Mike Riley took a chance, and he's very happy he did that. 4
carries, 18 yards today, plus he's got a reception. Bernard running between the tackles, takes a hit, still on his feet, gets inside the 10-yard line, down about the 7. We saw his durability right there,
Yeah.
Kelly. He took a wallop.
There's so much love and affection that he could hardly answer the question.
Right.
And it's a guy who's coached him and is still coaching him. You can tell right there on the sideline of this All-Star game.
They're going to go for it, though.